Hello and welcome to the Calmcast, a time to feel calm and think clearly. I'm Claire Downham, the Queen of Calm, a transformational life coach. I was a burnt out head teacher who finally made the journey to calm after years of trying, and I want to prevent you from having to do the same. The Calmcast is a series of short explorations, gently guiding you back to your natural state, which is calm and clarity. Just listen like you would listen to music, with an open mind and curiosity. There's nothing else to do. Now let's relax into today's episode. So I'll start by saying Happy New Year, because it is the first time I've been back here making this broadcast since before Christmas, because I did have a proper week or so off, which was lovely. And today, New Year's resolutions are made up. And what made me think to do this broadcast was that I follow a lady called Kate Northrup on Instagram, and she posted something about this which really made me think, goodness gracious, there is a concept here that is completely and utterly made up, and yet it is a tool that some of us use to beat ourselves up, and that's not good, is it really? So here's a few of the things that I discovered about, like practical things that I discovered about New Year's resolutions when I just started poking around just for a few minutes, really. And that, what Kate Northrup shared was that even the concept that Sunday was the 1st of January is completely made up, apparently by a pope in the 1500s, when that was when this Gregorian calendar that we adopted came into being, and the 1st of January was declared the start of a new year. Even our calendar as it was before that had been made up by, I believe, Julius Caesar added the months of June and July, which is why we don't have the months don't align properly with their names. So you'll notice that September, sept, is 7. September is not the 7th month, it's now the 9th month. Oct means 8, and October is the 10th month. Nov means 9, and November is the 11th month. And that is because Julius Caesar chucked another couple of months in at some point in history. Perhaps to make the year work better, actually. Probably was a bit of a practical guy, but partly probably because he wanted some months that were named after him. And that's why July is called July. So there's something else that's made up. And I started probing around New Year's resolutions and when they were first made, or when the concept of that kind of thing was first created. And I found some stuff about Babylonians 4,000 years ago who used to make them as a means to please the gods, who they'd also made up, if you think about it. So why is that helpful, you might be wondering, other than just to know? A little history lesson. That's not what you're here for, is it really? Well, it's because it's to help you not beat yourself up, because there seems to be a huge pressure at the beginning of January to sort your life out. Come on, it's the 1st of January. You need to make some news. You need to get fitter. You need to get slimmer. You need to go to the gym. You need to boost your business income. You need to improve on your career, sort your relationships out. I mean, literally, we can end up with, if we sit on it too long, the whole of our life looking like a bit of a disaster, and everything needing to change. But if we sit with the made-upness of New Year's resolutions as a concept, and then we think about what's actually going on in nature. So I'm talking to you if you're living in the Northern Hemisphere, because if you're living in the Southern Hemisphere, you're in a completely different phase of the year. Which again is amusing, isn't it? Because why would everybody around the world make New Year's resolutions on the same day? Because we're all in very different parts of the year, aren't we? So what's nature doing now? Well, if you live in the Northern Hemisphere, it's gone to sleep, hasn't it? In most places, it's resting. People call it the fertile void. Things are bubbling under the surface. But nature is not pushing itself forward or trying to make huge changes, or it's just resting. And I do, I've read some things before where, they've pointed to the idea that we as human beings, as our vitamin D levels depleted as we went into the winter because there was no sunlight in the Northern Hemisphere, we would have rested more. We would have, taken more time to be still. We probably would have fattened ourselves up in the run into winter, but then there wouldn't have been so much food. So we would have had to rest and take it easy as there was less food. We would have been conserving energy, not expending it on trying to change our whole lives and go to the gym every day. And it's yet another thing, isn't it, that we can use to beat ourselves up. I've gone through phases with it. I used to make New Year's resolutions and then invariably fail. I think it's mid-January, isn't it? Do they call it Black Monday or something, which is like midway through January when most people have had an epic fail of their, New Year's resolutions. They're feeling really bad about themselves. And is it Blue Monday? I can't remember. Anyway, there's a Monday that's kind of pointed to being a day when everybody feels really low, or lots of people feel really low just because it's all gone a bit pear-shaped compared to what they wanted it to be like. But change doesn't have to be like that, forced and painful. What if change could be easier than that? What if it could be lighter than that? What if there was just, when it was time to make a change for you, you just did that? And I have to say that for me, the way in which change has come with more ease is just from me seeing life in a different way to how I used to see it. Seeing how life works differently, understanding myself better, understanding what my feelings are. For me personally, is it the 3rd of January? It's the 3rd of January, and I just feel a bit meh today. I woke up, didn't really want to get out of bed, feeling a bit, it's dark outside, it's cold in the house, not really wanting to kind of go full fettle into the next day. And that's okay. That is perfectly okay. We don't have to be bouncing off the walls just because somebody says it's New Year and you've got to go to the gym and whatever else we might think we've got to do. So I guess this session is about permission for you to do you. I know that sometimes you feel inspired to make a change. I have no doubt that then a little voice comes in and tries to stop you pursuing that because it says something about you're not going to look good, you're going to look stupid, blah, 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 whatever it is. But there really is a time that's right for you to make a change that is not necessarily the 1st of January. In fact, I suspect for most people, energetically, we're not really in a place to make a change. We align with nature. So if you live in the Northern Hemisphere right now, it is dark and cold and there's not much light, although it's getting lighter now, isn't it? I do like it when we come out the other side of Christmas and you can, you know that it's, you can't see it yet, but it's getting lighter each day. You don't need another layer of pressure that's coming from yada, 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 you're supposed to make a New Year's resolution. You're supposed to stick to it. You're rubbish if you don't. You don't need that. We don't need that, any of us. And that's why I started this whole session by talking about the fact that the whole thing is made up. It's not even real. It's just something somebody made up a long time ago, starting maybe 4,000 years ago. And then I think it was first recorded as something that people wrote down in about 1600 and something. Can't remember the exact date, but that's when it was for the first records of people writing down their resolutions. But none of it's real. I mean, that's just freedom, isn't it? It's all made up. The whole thing. Now, I'm not saying don't make a New Year's resolution. If you're fired up right now and you're a person who, is energized and ready to start the year and wants to make a new, then do it. But don't beat yourself up if you don't manage to achieve it. Don't force yourself and make yourself ill trying to achieve it. Just take each day as it comes. And if it still makes sense to keep doing that thing, then keep doing it. But I don't think any of us need anything else to push and shove ourselves with. I really don't. So hopefully you find it helpful to know that New Year's resolutions are made up. Now, if you're listening to these sessions and you're kind of curious about what the heck I'm talking about, then my 5 simple truths to take you close to calm could be your next little step to find out more. And somewhere around where you're watching this video, or head to my website, which is clairedownham.com, you can access that. It's really, really simple. It's a very short booklet, reading wise. And then, surprise, surprise, there's a surprise, a bonus, and that is that you get access to some audios where I talk more about what I share in these broadcasts. So please do hop along and access that and find out more about where I'm pointing, because it's the best thing that's ever happened to me in terms of how I function and how I do my life. And I really do recommend getting into that conversation and seeing what you can learn about it. So take care, lots of love, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you so much for listening. There's nothing to do now but bring some awareness to how this is working out in your life. Listen regularly to experience longer and longer periods of calm. This has been the Calmcast with Claire Downham, Queen of Calm. Take care and keep listening.